A lot of times we think of things that we need to do and we make it such a big deal, but a lot of this strategy is just really thinking, writing things down, breaking them up into bite-sized pieces, and then getting accountability. And accountability doesn't have to be something you pay for. You tell your girlfriend, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. Make sure I'm not eating gummy bears every day. Hey, I want to be better about drinking water. Call me and ask me that I have 8 cups. There you go. Drink your water. Right? Like a lot of times we overcomplicate things, and it's really just about simple planning. So tonight, I'm actually going to have us walk into some simple planning as it relates to your goals. And you can take a very small goal or a larger goal. As it relates to your goal, I want you to think of two things. What do you need to eliminate, and what do you need to integrate? So say, for example, your goal is, I don't like the way that I'm feeling. I'm feeling very sluggish and I want to feel better. I'm going to eliminate heavy carbs and I'm going to integrate more fill in the blank, water, protein, fruits, veggies, right? It could be as small as, I don't like this shift. I don't like this feeling in my body. I want to make a shift. What do I need to eliminate? What do I need to integrate? It could be something even larger where you're talking about your long-term goal, right? So Lisa talked about being able to take a vacation. Well, what does that look like? What is one thing you need to eliminate to make sure that you are not a bottleneck in your company, or that you're not the only person who has all the information? What do you need to integrate? The answer could be SOPs. I need to make sure that I have a standard of procedure for everything that needs to happen. So when someone needs to ask me something, I can send them a document and say, here you go. I can send them a video and say, this is the way this is done, because you recorded it in advance. So when you're on vacation in Tulum or in Dubai or wherever it is that your heart desires, you don't have to check in really quickly and explain, oh, that's how you do this, go into QuickBooks or do that. No, everything is set up in place because you thought of it ahead of time. So ladies, I want you to take, it's 8:20, let's take 5 minutes to think about the one goal that we want to work on tonight, short term, long term, big, small, whatever your heart desires, and write down one thing you need to eliminate and one thing you need to integrate. I asked the ladies to think about a goal. It could be a small goal or a larger goal, but what they needed to do was to share one thing that they need to eliminate to achieve this goal, one thing they need to do to integrate to achieve this goal. So if your goal is to get 8 hours of sleep, what do you have to say no to? What do you have to say yes to? What boundaries do you need to set up? What things do you need to do in advance or the night before or early in the morning to make sure that you can get your 8 hours of sleep? So for those of you who just joined, feel free to start working on that. And I will open the floor for anyone who wants to share what their goal was and the one thing they need to do to eliminate and integrate to make these small shifts for huge impacts. So as long as we see things as reasons or, these valid justifications, we're never going to get past them. But once you start to call them out for what they are, it's an excuse. Because if it was someone else who needed you to get up, you would have gotten up. If it was something else that you valued more, you would have done it. So I love that you called it out for what it was. And we're here to hold you accountable to make sure that you get this done. And, it's not going to be a ping pong anymore. It's not going to be a yo-yo. It's going to be a lifestyle, because you're starting with writing down what the change is, and then we'll go into the next step later. And the other thing too is, like, I don't know if you do this with your children, but a lot of times it's better to replace something than just taking it away, right? So if your child is doing something, maybe you distract them, or you take away what you don't want them to play with, but you give them something else to replace it. So it works the same for us. If we're going to take something away, then we need to replace it with something better. So if you're not eating carbs, what are you replacing it with? If you're not using this excuse, what are you replacing it with, right? So then it's just a mindset shift. So if the excuse is, oh, the baby XYZ, well, how do you replace that? It could be something as simple as, you know what, I only need 20 minutes. Because a lot of times we're trying to do an hour or 2 hours, And maybe we're not going to have an hour, 2 hours, you know, at one time. But if you have 20 minutes 3 times, that's an hour. If you have 15 minutes 4 times, that's an hour, right? So even something as small as, you know what, I don't have time. I only have 10 minutes before I need to get into the shower. Okay, well, that's 10 minutes you can ride on your bike because you don't have to get in the car. You don't have to walk anywhere. The bike is in the house, right? So just swapping out those excuses and just breaking things down into bite-sized pieces will help you to try to tame those excuses and get to those goals.